Howdy folks, I'm Cheeky Cherry, cheerfully chasing chatty chickadees through chilly cherry trees.
I'm Amber.
And here are more chilly cherry trees for us to chase chickadees through. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to mention in my vows that I'll put my husband's name on the lease of my house? I'm a 32-year-old female, and I started dating Carl, a 36-year-old male, last year. We got along very well, and he's nice and a caring man, and was quite responsible when it came to finances. He unfortunately lost his parents' home in a lawsuit and moved into a rental apartment. He was upset at losing the house and said that at his age, it felt like he achieved nothing as long as he doesn't own or co-own a house, despite all of his other achievements. I inherited my mother's house, and it's in my name. Carl would bring it up from time to time and suggested that I add his name to the lease, especially when we're getting serious in our relationship. He promised me that it wouldn't impact my ownership of the house, and that it would just be to ease his unease about not owning a house at his age. He also said that we're as one, and it would be better if both of our names were on the lease. I was uncomfortable with the idea, but he persisted. I told him that I might consider it after we got married. Now we're getting married soon, and we have to finish up a few of the arrangements. He sat me down last night and asked if I was serious about considering putting him on the lease. I guess he sensed my discomfort and wanted to make sure that I meant to consider his request. I said yes, but he suggested that I put this with my vows so that I won't back out of our agreement. I was stunned because of his suggestion and thought that it was a joke, but he said that he was dead serious. I laughed at him, and he took offense to that, saying that this was even more of a reason for him to insist that I mention putting him on the lease in my vows. I told him to stop, but he insisted and claimed that I was putting material things above our love, which is the purpose of a marriage. I pointed out how his statement was full of hypocrisy since he was basically asking me such a thing. He got defensive and said that I don't get it, and that he suggested this as a way that I am going to commit, but I refused and I told him to drop it. We had a fight, and he complained about how I went back on my word and how I was probably planning on not putting his name on the lease, because if I did, I would agree to the suggestion. I felt so much frustration wash over me in that moment. He stormed out and turned his phone off. We haven't spoken till now. Some of his friends are trying to interject, telling me to be open-minded, but I refused to respond. Am I the jerk for refusing and thinking that this was an awful suggestion? Or does he have a point? Oh, and he said that since it was a small wedding with only family and close friends, that it shouldn't bother me to do it. All right, folks, what do you think about this?
Not the jerk. In my red flags meter is going off like an alarm siren here. This does not seem good. OP, I would recommend definitely not putting him on your house, but I'd also recommend taking some time to think seriously about the relationship. It hasn't been a very long one, and do you really know all the details of how he lost his house in the first place?
Yeah. Like, it's a little suspicious, right? But also, him wanting you to put his name on this and saying, oh, it won't impact anything or change anything, I don't believe him. I don't trust him. I think that he knows that it's a premarital asset.
Yep.
And that he is planning on taking you for a ride. And that is exactly what's going to happen here.
Yes, the fact that he's so insistent on this, like, he values having your property more than this marriage. It seems like he is probably playing nice so he can get something out of you, and then when the dust settles, he'll be like, this isn't working, I want a divorce, and I get half the house now.
Yep, I absolutely think that that's what he plans on doing. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a hobby of his to get married and to divorce people and take assets.
And, like, why is he getting his friends involved? Like,
well, and that's what I'm even more worried about, right? Mm-hmm. Because if his friends are somehow saying this is all very reasonable, then there has to be a reason why they're saying this is reasonable, right? And I think that they're biased, and they may even know what game he's playing here, right? So I don't trust this guy. I don't trust him at all, especially since you've only known him for a year. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck.
One more thing. I wonder if he even had a house in the first place.
He may have had a house. He may have sold the house. He may, have done any number of things here, right? So I really don't have a good answer to that, but he could just not have had a house, right? And Attractive Jane says, "You are absolutely not the jerk. Carl's behavior is a huge red flag. It's your house, and his request is inappropriate and manipulative. Don't let anyone pressure you into something that you're uncomfortable with." And Suz Coffee Bean says, "In your vows? No, what? What a bizarre request."
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like it is such a strange thing to put in your vows, and I will put so and so on my lease for my house. Like, no, that's not. You're supposed to be professing your love to each other, not like your material possessions.
Yeah.
It's more like a will.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for banning my 4 daughters from my wedding when I found out that they were planning to spill red wine on my future wife's wedding dress? I'm a father to 4 daughters, Olivia, age 19, Christine, age 17, Eliza, age 15, and Aria, my youngest, at age 12. Their mom and I divorced 6 years ago. Now I'm getting married to my fiance, Daniela, soon. Daniela is the sweetest woman that I've ever met. She's kind, caring, and selfish. She loves my daughters a lot, but my daughters at first did not accept her, and it has caused so much tension. Quite frankly, the girls at the beginning were outright aggressive towards her. They openly disliked her and fought against her in every way that they could, including saying offensive things to her and vandalizing some of her stuff. There was so much struggle that I honestly did not think that there would be a solution for it. I even contemplated breaking up with Daniela because I didn't want her to get more affected by what my daughters were doing. Suddenly, things had shifted and my daughters had a change of heart. They made a collective decision to mend the relationship with Daniela, and they became really nice and respectful towards her. It was strange, let me tell you, especially when my youngest daughter, Aria, started clinging on to Daniela and spending most of her time with her. Notice that this change took place a couple months ago. I immediately got engaged to Daniela and we decided to get married at the end of next month, October. Everything was going pretty well. I was busy with the wedding arrangements and stuff like that. I got a text message from my ex-wife telling me that the girls were planning on spilling red wine on Daniela's wedding dress at the wedding. I was shocked. I asked how true this was, and she said that she heard them plan the whole thing out. Moreover, my sister was in on it too and agreed to help them. I asked if she had any idea why, but she did not respond. I was furious and also very disappointed in not knowing that I could even tell Daniela about this when Daniela is currently helping them pick dresses for the wedding and helping them pay as well. It felt like an awful betrayal. I didn't know what to do, and I decided just to ban them from coming. I confronted the 4 of them, and they denied it at first. Then Eliza confessed, but said that it was intended as a prank, and that it was Christina's idea. Christine yelled at her and denied her involvement entirely. The girls started yelling at each other and then began crying when I told them that they're not allowed at the wedding. Olivia said that it would be ruining the relationship with Daniela if I don't let them attend on the most important day of her life. Christine promised that they won't do it and suggested that I don't tell Daniela and just let them come to preserve the relationship, and I decided to consider it. Well, yesterday my ex sent me a voice message telling me that the girls lied and were still going to do it and warned me to be careful. This time I blew up at them and I told them that they were banned from the wedding and that it was non-negotiable. They tried to argue, deny, and beg, but I refused to hear. I was feeling so much anger and hurt at that time. They went to stay with their aunt after I berated her on the phone and she denied. I haven't told Daniela, but my side of the family knew and they opposed my decision, saying that I would turn this wedding into a joke if my girls were absent from it. My father and mother said that the girls were remorseful and promised that they won't do it, but I don't trust them after what happened. My parents demanded that the girls be allowed to come and said that it will negatively impact my relationship with the girls because they said that the girls won't forget that I stopped them from being a part of this very special event and memory. Am I the jerk for not giving them another chance to attend after they lied? All right, folks, what do you think?
There's so much missing information here. OP, why do your daughters hate Daniela so much? Is she someone who's like their age and they find it really awkward? Is she an affair partner? Or is there something else going on here? Like, before I can figure out what the advice to give you, I need to know why they hate her so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a really big question here. And unfortunately, it seems like OP hasn't answered any comments, so it's going to be very difficult to get an answer to any of those kinds of things. It seems like they are very hurt because who in their right mind goes and does something like this? Spills red wine on her? Like, they sound absolutely like livid about this relationship, right?
Yep. And so that's why I think it's so important to, has OP even taken the time to ask them why, to try and find out why they're so opposed to it?
Well, and then also, the odd thing is that when OP asked his ex about why they were doing this, she didn't seem to have an answer too, right? Or, well, she didn't refuse to answer, I guess.
Right, and it could just be one of those things where, isn't it obvious? And she didn't respond. Like, if it was an affair situation, she might not, like, are you serious? Are you really asking me this question?
Yeah.
So, or it could be that she genuinely doesn't know. And that would say a lot too.
Yeah. But folks, since it's a matter of clarity, let's ask the Wheel of Judgment to impose judgment upon OP. What will it say? Who knows? It's, why are you like this award?
I mean, I guess that kind of works for all the missing info in the post. Or maybe it's for the daughters. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, there might be some good reason why the wheel has chosen this. Why are you like this, OP? Why are you like this?
But I would say put a pause on the wedding until you get to the bottom of this, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a harmonious household afterward either.
No.
And 3 of those children are minors, so they have to like live in one of the homes. It sounds like probably a split custody. So I would get to the bottom of this and find out why they hate the fiance so much before you even think about tying the knot.
Yeah. And Pin Accomplished 3452 says, Daniela needs to reevaluate this marriage, and you must tell her about this. This is not going to get better. Your older daughters are not going to suddenly begin acting like decent people. If you love this woman, Daniela, you need to take a step back and work on your relationship with your daughters to find out what's at the bottom of this. Moving forward with this wedding is going to exacerbate the situation. And Pack Eddie says, I'm surprised that he's trying to keep this information from her. I'm sure his daughters not being at the wedding will bring questions. Almost sounds like the plot of a sitcom. Just tell her.
Well, that was the other thing I was wondering too, is how does he not expect her to figure out, oh, my daughters all just couldn't make it? And is he bringing his sister who was part of the plot?
Yeah. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for releasing a swarm of bees at my cousin's wedding to prove a point about love? Okay, hear me out. I know this sounds bad, but let me explain. My cousin, a 29-year-old female, recently got married, and she and her new husband are one of those couples. You know, the ones that are constantly doing over-the-top, Pinterest-perfect things like releasing doves, having handwritten vows, and posting every single moment on Instagram with captions like, forever and always, my moon and stars. Barf. Well, anyways, I'm a 32-year-old male and I'm more of a realist. I've been married before. I know that love isn't just about the perfect sunset and matching his and hers bathrobes. So, when I found out that they were planning to release doves at the end of the ceremony, I had what I thought was a brilliant idea. Doves? That's cliche and frankly inaccurate. Doves fly away, never to be seen again. You know what really sticks around in a relationship? Bees. Bees are dedicated, they work together, and they defend each other. And honestly, they're the perfect metaphor for marriage, occasionally painful, but ultimately they produce something sweet. So I thought, wouldn't it be meaningful to release bees instead of doves? I didn't tell anyone because, surprise symbolism. I showed up to the wedding with a small, well-contained box of bees. Harmless. Fast forward to the end of the ceremony, and the happy couple is standing there beaming, and the officiant says, now we will release the doves. And I, in my infinite wisdom, no, release the bees! And I whip open the box. Well, apparently the bees don't appreciate being stuffed into a box and suddenly released in front of a screaming crowd. Who knew? Instead of symbolizing beauty and commitment, they symbolized chaos, panic, and allergic reactions. People were running. My cousin's veil got stuck in a tree, and the groom jumped into a fountain to avoid getting stung. Now my entire family is furious with me. They said that I ruined the wedding and traumatized half of the guests. I thought that I was doing something profound, but apparently releasing bees at the wedding is inappropriate and dangerous. Am I the jerk for trying to show everyone the true meaning of love through bees? Alright, folks, what do you think? How realistic is this story of all the things that didn't actually happen in the world?
I mean, I tend to try to give stories the benefit of the doubt, but I'm even skeptical here. But I'm gonna pretend like I believe it's true. And yeah, OP, I think you're a major jerk, and I think you know it too. You were not doing this out of some misguided sense of I'm gonna make this really special. You were doing this because you're jealous of your cousin's happy relationship. Like, it seems like he's very jaded, and the whole like handwritten vows are like over the top. Like, I didn't realize that was like such a cringy over the top thing to say nice sentimental things to your partner that are heartfelt.
Yeah, I just think this is so strange. If this is real, then OP clearly did this on purpose, and they aren't fooling anybody. I think that they are writing this in such a way that's more of like a brag that they were able to release bees on the crowd. Such a strange thing to brag about, though. But let's consult the Wheel of Judgment. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment OP's earned. Innocent but annoying.
No.
I don't know about that.
It's definitely not innocent.
The wheel is like, I'm a fan of the bees.
I mean, maybe it is talking about the bees themselves and not OP.
Yeah, I mean, bees are innocent, but a little annoying sometimes.
I mean, we had a bee crash our wedding, so...
Alright, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber has a brand new joke book.
Yes.
So, folks, we have been released from the shackle of jovial Bobstein jokes. We are free at last.
Yes, this is the ultimate joke challenge. You're supposed to do it as, like, challenging people, like, in teams to make each other laugh, but I just thought the jokes were funny. I did extensive research in that I searched Amazon for, like, 20 minutes, and these jokes sounded fun, so...
Alright, extensive research, have you paid off? Or will Amber deserve the Wheel of Judgment?
What did one toilet say to the other?
Well, one toilet said to the other toilet, because they've got a mouthful of water and they're constantly drowning. It's pretty horrific being a toilet.
You look a bit flushed.
You know, I've never seen a pink toilet before. Never. Just haven't. They all look like they're pale white and dead. And I have Earl Grey. I believe I successfully have completed this challenge of making Amber laugh.
You have.
Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it in the form of bees. Alright, well, I mean, I guess the bees just don't speak. I guess Amber just doesn't want to give a judgment.
Well, you said have it in the form of bees. Like, that's I turned my advice into bees. It's not my fault you can't translate.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow. And please, folks, if you can speak bee, translate the message for me.
Bye.